Hello, world. What separated your deep ball from everybody else?
My deep ball, it has a little secret sauce to it, man.
Never get too high, never get too low, but just keep moving.
The whole story is Carlos never beat me in any kind of sports in high school.
Welcome to the Orange is the New Black podcast. He is your host, Zim Hude. I'm your host, Ace Boogie. We are here today to talk about some news. And what news are we here to talk about, bro? Did something happen today? I'm just trying to figure. Did something happen today?
I checked my phone. I ain't really see too much going on, but I mean, I guess that there's some new guy that's coming in. I'm hearing something about a bodyguard or something. And
somebody catching bodies off of the offensive line. He's a bodyguard.
Right.
He said nobody's touching Joe.
Yeah.
Who is that guy?
It's none other than Lyle Collins, people. Lyle Collins signed with the Bengals today. He signed all the way to 2024. Super pumped. I've gone through a whirlwind of emotions because me and Ace, we have lives outside of the Bengals, but we've been trying to keep our ear close to this, talking to people that are well connected, directly connected with his agent, directly connected with the situation without imposing. And we just been kind of watching this whole thing play out. And I'm very, very happy, very thankful. And whether he would have signed here or not, I'm very happy to be a Bengals. I'm very happy to be a Bengals fan. I'm really excited. I'm really good.
That's facts. I mean, Lyle Collins signing here on a 3-year deal. I think just really, and I think I tweeted this the other day. To me, it feels like this is the best right tackle that we've had wearing stripes since Willie Anderson. Like some people might talk about Andre Smith and stuff like that. Obviously, it didn't work out with Cordy Glenn when they had him. For me, I think that this is the best right tackle that we've had since Willie Anderson. There's so many things that he brings to this offensive line. When you talk about physicality, the whole way that this offensive line looks is completely different. They're going to be physical. They're going to be some alphas in that room. There's going to be the glass eaters. And Lyle Collins is a violent player. When you talk about like what Penei Sewell brought, he brings that same type of energy in the passing game, in the run game. He's going to bring that. He's going to bring his lunch pail, and it just really solidifies his offensive line. And then you also get, one of the league's best duos at tackle. You talk about Jonah Williams, who really had a great season last year. He's building upon that. You get to keep him at left tackle, and then you got Jonah on the opposite side. So you have that. You have your guard. They still have to figure out the left guard position, whether that's going to be Jackson Carman that you plug in there for now, or it could be potentially Quentin Spain if they bring him back. But the offensive line is set, and this was a move that needed to be done essentially. Like, not necessarily like Zim is saying, like if he chose not to come here, it wasn't the end of the world. But from the Bengals perspective, this wasn't a guy that you could let get away, right? Especially when you took the gamble without sending them any kind of pick for him to get released. You had to kind of close that deal. And obviously there were a lot of people involved with closing this deal. And the Bengals were able to close that deal with Lyle Collins, bringing in another former LSU player, bringing in somebody that is extremely talented. I wanted the kid back in 2015 when we took Cedric Ogbuehi. For obvious reasons, we couldn't do that. But now he's a Cincinnati Bengal for the foreseeable future, and the Bengals have some veterans and some guys with war rooms on that offensive line, and they're really going to be able to do a lot of things, not only in the passing game, which Zim has talked about this all of the time. They've really only had, limited time to get passing plays off. That is now potentially over. They had limited, success within the run game. Now that is potentially over. And this is a dude that fits Frank Pollock's scheme perfectly. There was no better person that the Bengals could have signed, in my eyes, that's already familiar with Frank Pollock, his coaching style, his scheme, other than Lyle Collins. And he's only, 29? So they're going to have this guy for a while, and that kind of fits the formula of what they've done in free agency with getting these guys on the right side of 30, right? Because linemen can play for a while, right? We just saw Big Whit retire at 40, but these guys can literally play. We just saw Trent Williams last year play like he was the best, not even play like he was the best left tackle in the league last year in his mid-30s. So that's what this really means for this team. It's a hell of a signing for them. I think that it's a great response to the rest of the NFL and the AFC, who are all loading up. I feel like when Michael Irvin said it, he said the rest of the league should be scared as hell for the Bengals to get an offensive line. And as soon as everybody started scrambling, what have the Bengals done? They're going out and they're getting the offensive line, and they're really making it so that they really don't have any deficiencies on this team. Like a lot of the guys that they needed to get and fill in the areas, they have upgraded in. If you talk about Riley Reef versus Lyle Collins, much respect to Riley Reef, but Lyle Collins is a slight upgrade over him, and he's younger, right? So they've gone and done these things, and now it's being said by our good friend, a friend of the show, Butch Jeff Hobson, that they're even potentially going to bring Larry Ogunjobi back. How big would that be? Because we all talked about 3-tech and all of that. We brought back Eli Apple. So, like, really, the Bengals are positioning themselves after this free agency to go into the draft and take best player available. And, like, for me, I'm kind of on the early train for this. But the kid from Michigan, I hate that, he had to go down, the edge rusher from Michigan, first round talent. I think, what exactly is his name, Zim? I don't want to butcher his name.
Ojabo. Hey, so, I just posed that to my boys. Shout out to my boys. I just did the show with Dale Altman over there. Bengals and Brews podcast. Great guys. Great show. Great cast there. That is a real question to me, because I know that we're all talking about all of these different players that we want the Bengals to go get, all these players that whatever. But tell me this, riddle me this: what is a position that's up for grabs on this team right now? Like left guard and arguably cornerback too, because Eli Apple is just brought back as another insurance policy as well. But worst case scenario, you don't have to address corner, first round in the draft. You could come back with a second round corner that could compete with Eli Apple as well. But CB2 and left guard, right?
Yeah, CB2 and left guard for me would be what those are.
Aside from that, I mean, you talk about contracts coming up later. You talk about different guys that might be coming up. I know Logan Wilson's name have been brought up and everything like that. So the linebacker from Michigan, to me, kind of like in a Jeffrey Simmons type of situation or whatever. Like a lot of times the top 10 talent might, just fall right there into your lap because of the circumstances. And I tweeted a tweet, and I think everybody was panicking last night to say, man, we Bengals don't ever sign that. And I was just like, everything that's meant to be is just going to be. It will be. And that's a situation where the cards and the stars kind of align up, where there aren't many teams in a position to take on, you know what I'm saying? Like there aren't that many guys that take on that type of responsibility to draft a guy that can't play the whole entire first year. Now he could come back in 6 months. I don't know where that timeline lines up, but there aren't that many people that are in that position to do that. The Bengals, I feel like, are. When you start talking about their now, I kind of would put them at edge, but it's a tweener linebacker type of thing. But check this out: Jordan Evans comes back, Marcus Bailey, Joe Bocci, who showed he could ball. You got Akeem Davis-Gaither coming back, Logan Wilson, and Pratt. Yes, so you don't really have to play them. I appreciate that, Big Cincy. Big Cincy. I remember our conversation or whatever, but that ultimately I commend you. I appreciate you. We don't have to go into that. I appreciate you. Sure. But for the most part, that's all it is. I feel like there's going to be very few teams that can take that chance. And that's not to be like arrogant to say that, well, the Bengals got enough talent and we don't need nobody, for this first year. But they did work this free agency. They signed all their needs, and now we're going to the draft to just go get our talent. If they stop free agency right now, I wouldn't care. I'd be all right. We could go. I'll take that money out. We could roll that over into T. Higgins or Joe Burrow next year. I'm really at that point where I'm good to go.
Yeah, I think we're definitely good to go. Like you said, there aren't really many holes in this Bengals roster, and you're only going to stack that talent on top of it. I think the kid out of Michigan would be a welcomed addition. I think, like you said, this is a situation where he could come into. He wouldn't have to rush back from that from that injury, right? Like even if you wanted to take 8 months instead of 6, that's a possibility, right? Because we got Joseph Osai, we got our man Khalid Kareem, we got Hendrickson. Like that's just stacking your chips. And I think just from a value perspective, to be able to get somebody like that in the second or third round just because of the injury, that's a first round talent. It's just a no-brainer, like for me. But honestly, I trust them to do whatever the right move is, whether it's him, whether it's a corner at 31. Like they're just gonna keep stockpiling. And the craziest part is it's gonna get even crazier. Yes, Duke is definitely activated. Shout out to Duke Tobin for sure, playing chess while everybody is playing
sir.
Checkers.
Duke took her to that strip club last night. I was talking about. Hey, look, but let me tell you something. Now, what's his name? Now I say I'm done, but I'll be like, hey, Stephon Gilmore. Hey, I got a couple little bucks for you right here. It might not be what you was thinking, but hey, you want to get this? Hey, come on here, buddy.
Come and get a ring.
You know, like so you got that. You got that too.
That's the selling point. Like obviously the season hasn't played out or any of that, but that's your selling point, right? You just went to a Super Bowl, you just signed Lyle Collins, you got the Migos, you got Joe Mixon, you got the defense. Why not, come to Cincinnati? And that's what the pitch is now. Like Joe Burrow, we just talked about it before the show. It just came out that Joey B invited Lyle over, I believe, the night before to help close the deal. Like that's something that Joey B is as a recruiter. Like that's a whole thing that's going to be completely different when it comes to these Cincinnati Bengals. Is people are going to want to come to Cincinnati and play with this talent, and they can see the vision and they can see the potential. So shout out to Dustin Croft for that one, though. I appreciate the comments. We also have 569 people watching right now. Please hit that subscribe button, bang that like button. We truly appreciate that. Subscribe to both of our channels, Zim Hudays as well as mine. We appreciate all of this. I'm going to go through some of these comments just to get back.
That is the wildest comment I've seen in a very long time by Russ ENT. That's crazy. I'm glad you didn't super chat that one so that we didn't have to read that one live. But that was really cool. I mean, not cool, but that was crazy.
Somebody asked, and I'm going to send this to you, Zim. Wendell Brown asked, do you think this gives the Bengals a top 10 offensive line now?
100%. And anybody that's telling you it's not, me and H just talked about this before we got on the air. Anybody that's telling you it's not, it's because they're just they're fixated on actually like big names and stuff like the Vernon Armsteads of all season and stuff like that, where there's a lot of risk involved with that. The one thing that's happened this all season, and I don't think the Bengals front office gets enough credit for this, is that we're very good. We talk about Duke Tobin. They're very good at evaluating talent, guys that are playing and had their head straight into just playing football, where I think it matches up with the Midwest appeal, like the citizens. And so anybody tell you it's not a top 10 time, either they don't watch football, they don't want the Bengals to win, or they're just paying attention to like big names. If we're talking about performance from a PFF standpoint or any metric that you could name, all of our guys at every single position grade out top 10. And I think them in cohesion, those 5 playing together, like on that type of line, I mean, it might be a top 3. And then you combine that with the fact that the skill positions that are there, it just makes it such a hard battle for any team. If you think that you want to bring extra pressure or anything, like I don't see there's a world where any of those guys can live in it. And the number one thing that people don't talk about is what about the run game? We've never seen Joe Mixon. I can't wait to talk to Joe. Hey, bro, hey, look. So I'm gonna be talking. I gotta talk to my boy Mixon very soon. But he ain't never had a line like this. I'll just leave it at that. And if we talking about like just the run game and controlling a football game, I just feel like I don't see another. A lot of teams always come with a really good offensive line, but they never match it up with skill positions. So you like when the Titans or like some of these teams that are like predominantly just run game, like even the Ravens or even the Browns, they have all a very good offensive line at different points, but they never pair it up with a Joe Mixon, T. Higgins, Jamar Chase, because it's almost impossible with the amount of money that you have to play guys. It's right. A testament to how good that they drafted. Mm-hmm. can someone tell me an offense that they can see? I mean, I think the Tom Brady championship Bucks teams, even you know, like those offensive lines, a lot of those guys are older, and then from a skill position group, those are older guys like Antonio Brown that you're counting on to be like really, really good. Mm-hmm. We're talking about 22-year-old guys, 1,000-yard receivers in their prime, pair it up with also all offensive linemen under 30 years old, also pair it up with one of the best running backs in the National Football League over the last 5-6 years.
Right.
Like where have we ever seen that? Like the greatest show on turf or something like that? Like when does that ever happen? If you go look at Tom Brady's best teams, the ones that he had where Randy Moss was the big weapon, it was Randy and Gronk and a couple of other guys here and there or whatever like that. I just don't know like I've ever seen a team on paper assembled like this prior to a season, and we haven't even gone to the draft.
Yeah, we have.
They just came from a Super Bowl? Like, I don't know.
And they didn't even have Gronk back there. I think that was Randy and Wes Welker. So, like, that's
right.
Yeah, they didn't. I don't think we've ever seen anything like this.
Like this?
Like you said, the greatest show on turf is probably the closest thing that I can think of. But yeah, I don't. This is different, bro.
Right. I'm trying to think like where does that exist? Because even I think about like the Panthers Super Bowls, like Cowboys. 90s Cowboys probably 90s Cowboys for sure. Yeah, I'm all right. So let me rephrase it. I mean, even I think about some. I don't think they won a Super Bowl though. Like I think about like some of those old Warren Moon teams, even the old Dan Marino teams with Duper and guys like like I'm thinking about all the times that there was a good offensive line matched up with that, and then the guys that actually won a Super Bowl. Like I'm just like sometimes these teams that people assemble, they don't ever turn out like we think they are because they're basing hope on people. There is no hope with like Joe Burrow he is the guy. Jamar Chase, like these guys they are it. It's not like we're pairing guys and we're bringing him and saying, man, I hope this works out. Like maybe the offensive line. So maybe the offensive line.
I'm just gonna say it for you now. I mean, I think this already was one of the scariest offenses in football. I think they just became the scariest offense in football. Like undisputedly, like coordinators are going to be losing sleep. You just open this offense up so much because I think you did a great job of hitting on it. Like people that don't watch the Bengals and didn't watch this offense, they didn't realize that the offense wasn't super consistent, or they also didn't realize like how limited they had to make this offense because of the offensive line. Now those limitations are taken off because now you have stability from the offensive line standpoint. So like you said, now Joe Mixon could run crazy on you, which this is probably the best line Joe Mixon has ever had in his Bengals career. This guy was drafted in 2017, right? As we stand today, this is probably the best one that he's ever had, right? And even with those issues, they still were a top offense. Joe Mixon was still a top running back. And so you literally just made this offense that much better. And essentially, man, I don't know how you're going to stop us, bro. I'm just going to be real. It's not being cocky or anything like that. When you just look at the talent that this team has, them bringing in Hayden Hurst, who I still think is being slept on, whoever they add in the draft.
Shout out to Ink Raven. Shout out to Ink Raven. If you guys, so Ace put me on this guy, Ink Raven, ultimate Ravens fan, but also the realest fan. He did a YouTube the other day where he talked about the plight in the journey of Hayden Hurst. Yeah, and he just 100% was like Hayden Hurst is going to do very well in this offense. Yeah, and and I had to go back. We even made hype videos. We did a bunch of stuff. So and I went back and I looked. I'm like, man, this dude is a lot better than. He's almost like a victim of circumstances, and I don't want to be a homer and say like like this guy, man. No, but it's different. Hayden Hurst playing for the Browns, for example, or somebody versus Hayden, or let's just say the Ravens versus Hayden Hurst playing for the Bengals in one-on-one situations every single snap.
And the thing
every single snap, like what?
He was behind Mark Andrews. He was behind.
Right. And then he got injured.
So you can't even like really, and this is a guy that was a first round draft pick. There's a reason he was that, and so the
Do you
talent
know?
is there.
Do you know how many drops Hayden Hurst has had in his whole entire career?
Run him,
4. Do you know how many drops that CJ Uzomah had this past season?
run him.
4. So Hayden Hurst in his whole entire career.
I know
4
another
drops.
thing. I know another
4
thing
drops.
Hayden Hurst did that CJ never did. I know another thing Hayden Hurst did that CJ never did. The 500-yard season with 6 touchdowns. CJ never had that. Even because somebody asked me on Twitter, when has he ever matched the game that CJ had against Jacksonville, right? And I was like, you know that CJ's never matched the season that Hayden Hurst has had, right? So that's no shade to CJ or any of that, but don't sleep on Hayden Hurst as a player, as a prospect and talent. My man Victor Pate 24 here, that appreciate the super chat, says I wouldn't be surprised if Trey Hopkins and Trey Waynes agree to lower their salaries and bet on themselves. We'll have to see, man. I don't know if that means that they'll be back with the Bengals. But I would expect that the Trey Waynes roster move would be coming soon, especially with Lyle Collins getting done here. So we should see that in the coming days. You almost forget that we still have Trey Waynes on the roster still, right? Somebody else said that they would yet will awaken. I'll just say the last part of it. Appreciate that, bro, for $5. Rather have Zadarius Smith to help Hendrickson. Yeah, but I think that Zadarius is going to cost a lot of money there. Like that's going to be, that was one of the reasons he turned down the Ravens. And so with us having Hubbard, with us having Osai, with us having Khalil Kareem, Hendrickson, I just don't see how you could give him, 13 or 14 million. But I mean, on the surface, yeah, that looks good. But how it will be executed, I'm not sure. Jamie for $5 says, do we think Larry Ogunjobi comes back once he gets healthy, or is he done? I think the Bengals, like Hobson said, they're already talking about bringing him back now. I think that there's nobody who is fully aware of his medical situation and the type of player that he is other than the Bengals. I mean, he had that injury during the season, and so obviously they should be able to get him back. I don't think that that's going to be an issue. I don't think that he's going to miss the season. Corey Turner, $5 says, how about Pat coaching these dudes up at cornerback? I mean, that would be dope. I don't know if it would happen, but it would be dope. I think Pac-Man is a great football mind. I think he's a great player. He's always supported the Bengals. He's supported the city of Cincinnati. That would be dope to see him possibly like intern or something like that, if that's on his mind. I know he's a family man now. Obviously, he's good friends, or he talks. He's a friend of Zim. So, we don't know where his mindset is. Zim would definitely know more than I would. But I think right now he's concentrated on, his boys, his family, his business. But yeah, sure. Coaching the dudes up at corner, that would be dope. I mean, don't forget, Burfict was coaching some linebackers now pretty recently. So
hey, bro, that would go so crazy. Now you want to get people to hate us like even more. Put Burfict on the staff.
Burfict on the staff.
That would go crazy though, because Burfict did, like, I remember, was that you that told me? It was like, man, Burfict out here coaching. Was that the Shrine game?
Yeah, it was a Shrine game. It was
that
like Marvin Lewis, Willie Anderson, and I believe Vontez Burfict.
Bro, can you imagine Burfict coaching Logan Wilson, Pratt, and ADG? Like, oh my God, like. People talk about Burfict in the worst way, but when I'm talking about from an instinct standpoint and just a reading the play standpoint, he's one of the best linebackers that I like. No funny stuff, like no dirty play stuff, like just let's talk football. Right. Just reacting to plays. Like I got this Eagles game. I always tell people it's like 16 tackles. Like they were trying. This ain't even that long ago. This is Carson Wentz at quarterback. Like if you ever go on YouTube and watch it, like they were trying to get away from him. He ran down everything. Like killed them. Like no funny play. Like they could say they want about dirty stuff, whatever. As far as instinct tackling,
still can't take away like from the player, the smart stuff. That's the part of it that I hated, is because they talked about that so much, they overlooked how great of a player he was like outside of that. And it's crazy because I think there's probably still articles to this day on Bengals.com, but Paul Gunther, our former defensive coordinator, when he was playing, he used to always say, like, I know that he's going to be a coach. Like the way that he looks at the game, his instincts, his smarts and all of that. Like, so Vontez as a linebacker coach, if I'm not saying that they do it, but if that were to happen, that would be fire. It would be essentially like how I think it might be even better, but like when the Steelers made Joey Porter their linebacker coach, like that would be the Cincinnati effect of that. Russ ENC has the $20 super chat. Appreciate that, bro. Cleveland thinks that we're sweating with Deshaun. It's too much orange. I mean, you just had to answer that back in any kind of way because you went out there as the AFC North champion, the AFC champion, and you had to answer the bell for not only them, but also the Ravens and the moves that they've made as well. So I think, you had to answer that back with getting that line locked up as well. But, they had to answer us going to a Super Bowl and all of that with the trade for Deshaun. So the AFC North, and I've talked about this before, like the AFC North, the prime matchup now, in my opinion, just if you're looking at the whole division, it's shifting and it started shifting like almost maybe even 2020. I think I said this in 2020 when Baker and Joe Burrow played. It's shifting from the marquee matchup being the Baltimore Ravens and the Pittsburgh Steelers to it being the Cincinnati Bengals and the Cleveland Browns. And people aren't going to be used to that, but that's what it's going to be now, especially with the Steelers losing Ben and trying to figure out that quarterback position. That's going to take away from that rivalry. Now, you could make an argument that maybe it's the Baltimore Ravens and the Cincinnati Bengals, but now the playing field is a lot level between the Cleveland Browns and the Ravens. But I think that right now, the Battle of Ohio is just on another level in regards to that matchup. Joseph with the $5 super chat. Who do you think they should add now? Personally, Derek Barnett would be a home run, but an LG needs to be the priority now. I think if we're talking about who we think that they should add now, you already know Treader gang is still there. But if that's not a possibility, I think you go out and get Spain. I think you can go out and get Ogunjobi back. I think you look at the corner market next week. See if you can throw some bargain deals out there. I think Zem also talked about us bringing Flowers back as well.
Oh my God, bro, I don't know what his market is like, but if they know what I know, like, bro, Flowers, they need Flowers.
Yeah,
they need him.
They could get Flowers back.
Or somebody that looked just like him in the draft. I ain't seen that guy. 6'3", you know what I'm saying? Like that animal looking like tall. I can still run like a 4.5. Like what? Yeah, give me Flowers, bro. If you'd have asked me before this, who you want back first, Flowers or Apple, I would have said Flowers with no hesitation. And there ain't no shot at Eli. I just felt like you could replicate good outside corner play. But what Flowers does to tight ends, I just don't think it's
can't
easy.
Take that, yeah. That's a different thing. Like you said, 6'3".
It's a specialty.
Yeah, that's something that he can do, right?
You know the other person. Like, sorry, so me and Ace was talking about this. Now, hear me out, guys. This one's a little crazy, but he's gone. Mm-hmm. But he's gone now. But Cordell Patterson. Mm-hmm. He would have solved a lot of different things. He's gone. So it's not even really worth us talking about it. But the Bengals do need a return specialist, but they also need a wide receiving threat. And we don't really like Piron as much. You know what I'm saying? Like me personally, I'm not high up on Piron. I feel like you can just go get a Piron every year, right? Right. So how can you satisfy all three with one person? Cordell Patterson. That's kind of madness, but I think that would have been awesome to see because you talk about matchup nightmares and stuff. Like I just can't. Oh my God! Like that right there. Now we're having fun. Now we're going crazy.
That's facts. Chicken Genius, and I just want to hear what the reaction is going to be.
And he didn't get paid that much.
What about Clowney?
Clowney.
That's what I expected you to say.
Clowney. You want to talk about Clowney? Hey, look, this Browns dude hit me this morning, y'all. He was like, see, now I'm about to start having fun. And this Browns dude hit me. Was like, man, wait till we get Clowney back and get somebody. I was like, Clowney? You think Clowney about to do anything? Like Clowney, like, all right, to be fair, if Clowney I honestly feel like in a rotational piece, would be the only role that he would have with the Bengals. Like I think people are underestimating. Osai already is now on third down. That's going to be your outside edge. Mm-hmm. So where would Clowney even really? So like you're going to kick Sam Hubbard inside. Don't forget, Cam Sample had a really good rookie campaign. So you got to increase his snaps. And then don't forget Khaled. And don't forget we still going to the draft. And don't forget Jerron Reed and 3 Techs and different guys like that just took visits here. Like the Bengals still could go get a vet guy and bring somebody else in, but overpaying for a Clowney, like nah. He would have to go if he wants to get money, which I think he probably does. He needs to go to a bad team. Like this team,
I think he's supposed to be
sign back
to Cleveland, which I think that was a good move for him last year. As much stuff, and this was never about. For me and you, this was never about him being on the Browns. We haven't liked Clowney in a long time. That was a famous. If you've been watching us for a long time, you knew exactly what Zim was talking about when he said it like that.
Right. And speaking of talking to us for a long time, let me just tell this. This is not us being arrogant or anything. I'm just going to speak and say some stuff for me and Ace. Our job, what we do, is a very unique position amongst the Bengals fan base in my eyes. We have never claimed to be reporters. We are not here to dabble in people's finances and stuff like that. I don't believe that's the role that Ace wants to take. I don't believe that's the role that I want to take. So, but let me tell you guys this. If you ever see us speaking on stuff involving players, think about it. Name me another pod from our Cincinnati community that has had more guests on their show, whether it be a coach, whether it be players, whatever. You can name anybody you want. Like, we've interviewed every single person. And this isn't like to compete with anybody like that. It's just to say that to think that we're not in contact with players or to think that we're not in contact with like staff, security at the thing. I'm literally at the stadium, like all these different things that you guys are seeing me, or, like we've interviewed fathers, moms, everything. We're very well connected with that, but in a lot of that, I think is because we're doing it to make sure that we give you a more realistic approach to our show and what the expectations are for Bengals fan. I don't know anybody that really talks to this many players that have been here before, whether it's AJ Greens of the world or Carl Lawson's, that we've shown you all these guys. Like, these are guys that we talk to all the time. So, I just want to say that, like, if we speak on stuff or we talk about it or whatever, like, it's because we talk directly to people. Oh, I thought somebody said something about which one. It's because we're dealing directly with these people. So we're not here to get followers from breaking news or anything like that. We're just trying to keep your ear, intact with all of this stuff.
Hold on, is Gary in here? Is Gary O in here watching us?
Gary need to be up in here. Gary, Ace was at your show last night, and you ain't let my boy come up. You ain't let my boy come up backstage or none of that stuff, bro.
He was hilarious, though. He was hilarious. I was glad to support him and Mike Epps, man. I told him after we did the show, because I saw that he was coming down here, and I was like, I gotta hit him up.
Gary, I hit you yesterday. You asked me a question. I said, hey, look, we need to go to that source, and I hit that same source. And then I tweeted something. So shout out to Gary for had Gary not asked me that, I probably wouldn't have even went back. But that's a testament to like how I feel like we stay, with this. We find other Bengals people that actually happen to be legends that that have a vested interest in the Bengals, and we like to keep it realistic. Like, we want our team to win, but we love the players and all that stuff too. So shout out to Gary. Always showed us a bunch of love. And I probably wouldn't be sitting here with all the people in here, and Ace probably wouldn't be either if it weren't for people like Gary Owens supporting us and letting people know about us. And he had a heckler at the show. It was me in the back. I'm still a little pissed about the Super Bowl. Me and Gary were supposed to run on the field together. He told me I was going to borrow the robe. All these different things didn't happen. So, yeah, I heckled your show last night, Gary. Sorry. It is Owen, not Owens. Hey, look, for real, if one more person outside of if you're a Cincinnati fan and you say Burrows with an S, I'm going to give you a pass. But if you're an op and you say Joe Burrows with the S, like, I'm gonna leave the room because I want to fight. Like, I do not like that. Like, I don't know why. Right. Like, bro, stop messing my man name up. Are you serving? Well, which is about to ask me, Ace, what's up?
Nah. It's all good. Yeah, Gary did serve up that dude last night.
For real, he had a real.
He sauced him up. He sauced him up last night.
See, that's what I live for. That's what you come to the shows for. Yes, sir. For real live hecklers and see who like that. Like, you ever been to a comic show? A heckler comes in and then they freeze up and they fold. So the fact that Gary freestyled and they just aired him out like legend. Oh, yeah. How about Joe Burrow? How about Joe Burrow taking Lyle Collins, pulling the car, and say, "Hey, pull up to my house. Let's get the fan together. We're gonna get this thing together." How about Joey B pulling up and closing the deal last night with Lyle Collins? How about that?
I mean, somebody said, now I don't know how reputable this is. This isn't from a source or anything. I don't know if somebody was just being funny, but I think it was somebody that was working at, I think, like a Party City or something. Said that they saw a Bengals employee go and get some cigars or something like that. Like I don't know why they would get them from Party City though, right? Like they're not smoking on Party City cigars, but
no. We be talking to some of the players. Somebody asked, I think it was mixing somebody else, like, "What's your favorite cigar?" They was like, "I don't know, whatever they giving me." Right. I've only smoked the cigar 3 times in my life. One time was in Colombia, and it tasted almost like a fine coffee bean, right? And I don't like smoking cigars, right? I smoked a cheap cigar before. It tastes like when you were like 8 years old and you burnt some paper trying to be cool, trying to smoke like a fake cigarette or something. Everybody, I tell people that, hey, y'all ever try to fake like smoke something or smoke some paper, like light something early in, like when you were young, pretending it's a cigarette or something, and it tastes like that. So bad cigars taste like cheap, like bad notebook paper. Just so you guys know. I try to tell
them, man, our man Jeff Ruby is undefeated. Once you get that steak Burrow, it's a wrap. It's a wrap. It's well documented. Once you
my man Joey B pulled up in the Jeff Ruby in the sweats. Did you see him? Yeah, you ain't see him? I did see him. Pulled up with the Looney Tunes and the sweats. Like, that's legendary stuff. Like, but see, these outside people, they're not catching that. They're like, why y'all think Joe Burrow going to just win all the games? I'm like, yeah, because he pulled up the Jeff Rubies and sweats. Like, who's doing that? Like, your favorite quarterback's not. He's putting on a suit and tie, and he doesn't know how to control the room. Joe just pulled up like, yeah, I'm here. Right. And it's a wrap. That's why the whole Lyle Collins, I do have a slight message. A lot of times, like, it kind of reminds me of, like, trying to get, like, a girl or something, like, early in, like, a lot of people, like, pressing, like, Zim, what's going on? I mean, we're going to get him. And I got to this point where I'm like, hey, bro, like, this is Cincinnati for real. Like, at this point, like, whether Lyle Collins comes here or not, we're still winning games. So, like, don't think for a second, like, just because you don't get the splash or whatever, and you know that that you're not going to win the game, and then also don't use that situation like Lyle Collins, not if he didn't come here, to throw dirt or to suggest that Teddy Karras or Alex Kappa ain't some real dogs. Like, them some real football player, 3 rings on their fingers type players blocking for Brady, like real interior line offense. So Cincinnati, we don't need splash names to garner the respect from outside influence. They're not going to give us respect anyway. What did we do on defense? We went and got Mike Hilton's, Von Bells of the world, all these different things, all these guys that maybe aren't household names, but they're super, super talented. So when you take Teddy Karras and Alex Kappa and stuff, that in itself is fine front office work, and they're gonna do really well and phenomenal things for this team. Lyle Collins now adds a whole nother sauce to Zach Taylor's play calling, and it's a wrap. It's truly a wrap. That's it.
Speaking of sauce, we're gonna have to send my man the Midwest Best Barbecue. We're gonna have to get him right.
Yes, sir.
Tim, because we already know he's probably looking for some places to eat in the Natty. And we got to send them the Midwest Best Barbecue. And I appreciate last time when we talked about them, we had some people in the comments talking about giving them love, giving them their flowers. Be sure to check them out, 669 Justice Court in Loveland, Ohio. They're going to give you all types of barbecue. They're going to give you wings, Grippo wings. Y'all know what I'm talking about. If you from the Natty, Grippo wing, that's where they sold me. When they said that they had some Grippo wings, that was it for me. They also had the Uno wings as well. So be sure to check them out in Loveland. My man Diddy here says that Mike Hilton is on Twitter recruiting Gilmore. Hey, it is what it. I think we're going to start having a lot of people out there recruiting for the Bengals. And you wanted to say something?
And I was saying, Allie said that Midwest is bomb. Yeah, Allie, talk to them people. Midwest best barbecue. Grippo. Oh, she said, I love the Tim. Yeah, Tim, that's our boy. So, yeah, you clearly know what's going on. What I was going to say, Grippos. Grippo wings. The reason why when we went there, I was like, man, I'm going to tell you, Grippo's so good to me. I had bought a case of Grippos off of like Amazon or something one time. No bull. This is like a year ago. When I had them for the first time, I said, man, these chips are so amazing. So then when I went in there, if you've ever had Grippos, like period, like chips or anything, go to Midwest Best Barbecue. It's about to take it to a whole nother level.
You took Grippos and then you put it with wings. Like those two things by themselves are fire. So what do you think they're gonna be like when you put them together? My man Keeper Slim for the $20 super chat. Appreciate that, bro. Let's run it back. Houday, you said something else that caught your attention, Zim?
Oh, no. Hey, dog, it's this guy. All right, so long story short, I do a Bengals versus Steelers page, and it's an ongoing joke that the kid Snoo that I run the page with, he's a Steelers fan. And so my duty is to go Bengals versus Steelers every week. And I had this joke that his mom, we don't know what he looks like or how old he is or anything. So we just be like, man, he lives with his mom in the basement. And we'd be like, until he converts over to being a Bengals fan, his mom isn't going to make him any lasagna anymore. So it's just like, it's like a inside joke. If you watch, you follow me on Instagram, it's Zim_Houday. Follow Ace on Instagram. It's also New Stripe City. Follow, Ace on Twitter too at New Stripe City, newstripecity.com. We about to get some new stuff, new merch, and different things working. A lot of craziness.
We got some stuff in the works, people. So just pay attention. These next couple of weeks, we working. Don't
you feel like this is the timing is?
Do you want to? Yeah.
The timing is no. Yeah, but the timing of like right now, we're like 2 weeks away. We're gonna be doing some really big things, and we're 2 weeks, almost 2 weeks away. So like 2 weeks away, and we're doing some. And the timing of this is like lining up so good. So that I think that's really awesome. So please continue to keep on supporting us. Did you want to talk about Lyle Collins a little bit, just because I know a lot of people want to talk about Lyle Collins before we leave or anything? Did you want to talk about you were telling me interesting stuff about Lyle Collins' history before, how he got with Frank Pollock and how Frank Pollock vouched for him and how that might, whatever. And from a schematic standpoint, I just wanted to point out the fact that Lyle Collins is going to be offering something different that I don't think the Bengals have had in a very, very long time. I don't remember it from the right tackle. So unless you go back to Willie or something,
I don't,
on an island, an island, but he really on an island with whoever
out there. It's clips out there on Twitter right now with him in the trenches going to work against very good edge rushers and
I got one. How about this, y'all? I got one of Lyle versus Myles Garrett. Dominated him.
Okay.
So
let's get it.
So we could go back if we want to, we're gonna have some fun. So anybody's asking, well, how good is Lyle Collins? I could put him on an island. It's not, and nobody's touching him. This is what he say at his press conference. I'm his bodyguard. Nobody touching him now.
Nobody touching him.
That's for real. That's for real. That's not me being no homer or hyping him up. This is for real. We're not playing.
That's facts. So, guys, please be sure to subscribe to Zim Houday's YouTube channel, the Zim Houday one. Subscribe to mine, New Stripe City. Follow us on Twitter. Follow him at Zim Houday. Follow me at New Stripe City. We appreciate the support, but keep it rocking with us. We're going to keep you updated. We're going to give you all of our honest commentary. We're going to give you the insight that you need to have. But as usual, Zim, we're going to end this with a yes.
Sirski.
Hello, world. What separated your deep ball from everybody else?
My deep ball, it has a little secret sauce to it, man.
Never get too high, never get too low, but just keep moving.
The whole story is Carlos never beat me in any kind of sports, and